Lindsey Kelley. Let's bring her in. Well, look at that theme. What's up, Lindsey? How you doing?
Hi.
What's going on, Lindsey? Kelley,
I can't hear anything you guys are saying.
No?
Can't hear anything.
We're muted. She's muted.
It's all silent right now.
I can hear you.
Is that on our end, Joe?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can't hear anything you guys are saying.
Not at all. Give us a minute.
We'll figure it out.
There we go. We're trying a new theme, and as you can see, we're talking about the posters. We got new Table Titans theming as well. Lindsey, you just sit there and look beautiful with your new haircut. I can see you got a new haircut, right?
She can't hear you.
I can't hear anything you guys are saying.
I said, just sit there. In the minute
Oh, wait, there we go. There we go. Now I can hear you.
All right, there we go.
I was saying, just look pretty there with your new haircut, and once you can hear us, give us the thumbs up, and then they have to remind you. We can't hear you say that.
But we're good now. Thanks for dealing with the technical difficulties there, but quick turnaround for you, jumping right back into action. Listen, I was in all your last fight. Win, lose, or draw, that was a fantastic throwdown. You looked like a woman possessed in there, and even immediately after the stoppage, you were protesting and thinking that it was too premature. You were just hungry to get back in for more. So I love the motivation that you asking for a quick turnaround and just give us your thoughts on if that motivated you to really hone in on this and get another win as quick as possible.
I mean, yeah, I was pretty frustrated. I think it was pretty clear that I was frustrated. I recognize that I made a mistake, and I got caught with my hands down, but I got pretty frustrated with the stoppage. I've talked about it a lot with my coaches, and in my opinion, it's one thing if I was like getting pieced up in the beginning in like the first round, like, I was taking a lot of hits, not really doing too much, but like, and then I got hit with something like that. Like, it's one thing to stop it for that. Like, yeah, I'd understand that, but I mean, I'd say I was pretty dominant the first round. Like, I know she hit me with a jab or two, but that was literally it. I was feeling pretty good. I don't know. To say I was frustrated is an understatement. I know how hard I worked for it and everything. And I mean, hey, I said I would fight her again. I asked for a rematch. And I was told that she wasn't interested. So, I know I've mentioned it before in a different interview, but I said at win, lose, or draw, I want to make sure that person never wants to step in the ring with me again. And I mean, if she doesn't want to fight me again, then, I did my job.
Like I said, it was a barn burner and a half for as long as it lasted. It was a dynamic finish, and you still toughed it out and wanted more. And honestly, that's one of the few things I can actually say. I've been on the side of an early stoppage, so I definitely feel your pain. It's the worst feeling in the world knowing you could give more in there. And it's like, it's one thing if you really get slept or tapped out or whatnot, but to really feel that you could keep going, it definitely sucks. But listen, I sat on the shelf for like 2 more years after that. It's just, it's admirable to see you just turn around and light the fire and just get right back in there.
Safe to say you would have fought that night.
Yeah, no kidding.
You're not wrong. I remember, I don't remember what I was doing, but I was walking around on Sunday, and I was kind of like, you know what? If she walked in right now, I'd fight her right now. I'd go right now.
Yeah. So we got Rob Pico. You made a fan out of Rob Pico. He's saying, Kelley. He's excited to see you again. So moving on from that fight, what was it like? How quickly were we right back in that gym or in training?
So actually, my boyfriend planned a vacation afterwards. So I ended up like the Monday after the fight, I ended up in Mexico. So I was in Mexico for a week. But I mean, I definitely didn't let it rest. That's for sure. I talked his ear off the entire week. I was like just itching to get back to training, and it was a great week. I had a lot of fun, but it's time to get back to business. And I mean, I've been in the gym since then, going hard every single day. So I mean, I know I talked to my coach and everything, and I know there's still so much work to be done and everything. But I mean, to see what all my coaches pretty much said was to see the improvement from the first fight to the second fight is like astronomical. And so I hope to continue to build on that in the March bout. That's for sure.
honestly, like, like that's what amateurs are about, is learning about yourself and getting in there and competing first and foremost. Realistically, a lot of times in my experience in the past 13 years, a lot of times, fighters put so much emphasis on their amateur career and just want it unblemished and taking easy fights. And then it's great to see a school like yours, an Evolution, like you guys are about taking tough fights and learning about yourself and using that experience. So it's a pleasure to see that. Johnny, what do you think? Advice would you give? Coming in.
Advice: just doing exactly what you're doing. Which is learning clearly. What is like one thing that you are going to do in March that you maybe didn't do, or one thing that you did do it that you wouldn't do again? Like, give me like one takeaway from the fight that you are most definitely going into the next one.
I would probably say, I know I've worked on this a lot since, but just trying to be more like settled in the ring. I'm really starting to understand the difference between, just sparring and actually fighting. And I know that I was getting kind of frustrated because she just kept running around in circles, and I'm just not used to. I kind of got in my own head a little bit about it, and I dropped my guard, obviously, and I wish I know I was throwing a kick when it happened, and I wish instead of throwing a kick, I wish I would have, because I had her, it was close to the cage. I wish I would have gone in for another takedown at that point, for sure. I know my first one worked well, and that was my goal going into it. I wanted to play that grimy, like, against the cage game. That's what Nate and I wanted to do. So I'm hoping for my next fight that I can really nail that down and not get so caught up, and focus on listening to Nate and what he's telling me, whether I think it's crazy or not. He's telling me it for a reason. So I want to really try to focus on that, if you know what I mean.
Smart.
Nice. Coach Keegan said, "Don't chase and cut off." That was his advice.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
What do you got for Andy?
Your opponent's making her debut.
What do you know about her?
Yeah, but you probably know nothing, but you definitely know that she's probably been studying the film and whatnot. But what's your message to your opponent?
Message to my opponent: fight me again. That's really all I have to say to her. Oh, sorry. My new opponent. I don't know. I don't really have anything to say. I'd rather just let the fighting in the cage do the talking, to be honest.
Nice.
I'm excited. I can't wait. I like, it's the Sunday afterwards. I was running around my apartment. And I was like, oh, I just want to get back in there. I just want to be back in the ring and already fighting again.
Yeah. So switching gears a little bit, you're training with a bunch of fighters that are fighting either on our card on March 18th or upcoming. I know, like Mo Kanani, who's fighting on our card, but he's also fighting this weekend. But you got a couple people training to fight next week in Vermont. But on this card alone, you got Julian Connerton, you got Mo Kanani on this card. You got a lot of teammates fighting. How is it, the camaraderie, when you guys are all kind of preparing for the same goal as a fight?
It definitely makes such a difference, like knowing that you're all kind of getting ready together to go into the cage. And a lot of people say that fighting is an individual sport, and like, yeah, when you get into the cage and the doors lock, you're in there by yourself. You don't have anybody else with you. But it's so much more than an individual sport. We have such a camaraderie at Evolution that you can't really find in many other gyms. We all have each other's back. We all train hard. We all help each other get ready for fights, whether we're fighting or not. Like if somebody asks for hard sparring rounds, we're all willing to step in and give it to them. We're willing to help out wherever. I know I've come in many times to help teammates get ready for fights. Even though I could be doing homework or working or whatever, but I'm like, if I can make time, I'll make time. And that's how Nate is, and Keegan as well. They're all like, if we can make time, they put the time in, for every single one of us. And it's hard to believe because there are a decent amount of fighters at our gym, and our coaches make time for every single one of them. And I think it shows in the results and how we fight in the cage for sure.
Keegan's trying to prep you. I don't know if you see the comments. He said expletive, talk some shit.
Yeah, Keegan definitely does a lot of shit talking, that's for sure.
No.
Keegan fought on Cage Titans 1, and him and I go way back, and he's definitely a little bit of shit talker for sure. I forgot to mention Teddy Politis as well, who's fighting for our title. And then you have another teammate that we were looking at trying to get, another 45er. Your teammate, your female teammate. What's her name? Refresh my memory.
Kayla
Britt.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so we're working on Kayla too, trying to get her going. So you got a whole crew of fighters coming down. What do you got? Anything else for Johnny?
No, I'm just excited to see you back in action. It's fun to watch you fight. You're like a barbarian woman, and I really like that. The forward pressure. You're like, I feel like you have a really good personality, and you're just so young still too that you haven't even fully like embraced yet. And when you totally embrace it, I feel like you're gonna be a freaking superstar if you want it. So good luck. I can't wait to see the next step.
Put on
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Adina, I forgot your other teammate, Adina. Listen, there's 32 fights on this card. I'm sorry, Keegan. I did forget Adina Baldry and Emily Crown. Yeah, I forgot her too. So, and you guys have 6 fighters on the card. So
my brain's already fried from trying to start to memorize all this, but
yeah.
Excited to see you. Excited to see you.
And I got one question before you go. So I don't know if you're on TikTok, but on TikToks, Kin Moy and I, we usually break down a topic of the week. And I think I know the answer for you, but we were talking about, the fighter mentality, are you born with that or can you learn that? And what made me think of this question is because I look at you and I'm like, yo, this girl was born a fighter. But then we kind of we're breaking this down tomorrow. So I'd love to get you a little bit of information out of you. Do you think you're born a fighter or do you think that's something you can get taught?
I think you got to have something in you. I think you can learn all the technique in the world. You can have all the best coaches, the best training in the world, and you can probably be pretty successful. But when you look at UFC, any sort of fighting promotion, you can tell the people who have heart. You can tell the people who are a fighter, 110%. Like when you think about I don't know, I want to say people like Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, they may not be Conor McGregor's very technically sound with his striking, but there's something inside of both of them that they 100% were born with. You can't build that. And I know that Nate says the same thing. You gotta have something inside of you. When you're stepping in that cage, you got to be willing to really hurt somebody, and that not everybody can do it. And I've talked to a lot of people about this, and I can't tell you how many people will be like, oh my God, I could never punch somebody in the face, or I could never punch a girl in the face. And when I tell them that I train with guys, and it's funny to see how different I call it the civilian world is when it comes to fighting. Cause all the fighters, we joke around and we'll say oh, I'm going to punch you in the face or I'm going to choke you out or whatever. And if you say that out in public, people are going to be like, are you okay? What is that? But I definitely think it's something that you have to have inside of you. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's going to be, I'm getting text messages. I'm getting text messages from Amanda, actually. She has some things to say, but we're going to focus on Anastasia. I don't think that you knew that she'd be watching the show, and shout out to Amanda. Please drive safely and stop texting me. We need to use I just give you some advice, but it's funny because when we break this down, we kind of talked. Initially, I thought you had to be a fighter. And then I always thought, if you have to go to a school to learn how to fight, you're not really a fighter. You're either a fighter or not. But then as, I kind of watched the sport and I started training, and I thought, I'm like, wait a minute. There's something to learning how to fight. So then I kind of switched gears, and I'm like, yeah, you can be born a fighter, but you can still learn skills that can enhance your fighting ability. But then I've come back around and I've seen fighters that have all the skill in the world, but they're just not fighters. And they, like you said, you gotta want to hurt somebody. Like when that cage door closes, it's like kill or be killed. And that fight or flight kind of mentality, like, I think that can kind of bring you to the next level. So I'm glad you mentioned that because that was what I was thinking as well.
As soon as you're
Yeah.
equally skilled with someone, that's where whoever is the true fighter is going to come through. Because when you skill and skill match, it's like who would kill the other person.
This is like, you've always said this. Everyone wants to beat someone up. Not everybody wants to fight.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big difference there. But yeah, I agree. I think you got to be born with something. You got to learn too. Very important to learn.
Sure.
Your mentality's only going to take you so far.
Yeah.
Who the hell no?
Pitbull Kelley. That's what Nick threw up on the screen. Do you have a nickname?
I don't have a nickname. Nobody's giving me a nickname, and I'm really sad about it.
I mean, Nick just deemed you Pitbull Kelley.
Well, somebody said that their husband called her Pitbull Kelley.
Oh, Pitbull Kelley. I kind of like Pitbull. You like Pitbull Kelley?
Pitbull Kelley. I think I can ride with it. I don't know.
Stop that.
So the rest of their husband called her Pitbull Kelley.
Oh, there you go. Kristen Zioli.
Listen, we
First fight I went to, so impressed, my husband called her Pitbull Kelley.
There's never too many pitbulls.
No, you can't. Especially a female Pitbull is not enough.
I don't think there's a female Pitbull, is there?
I think there are.
Are
I
they?
gotta
It's good.
dive into the memory bank right here, but let's see if I'm pretty sure that there are.
This must be an inside joke. Keegan said, Lindsey, my boyfriend is real Kelley.
Oh my God. I'm going to hit him so hard.
All right. Well, Lindsey, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you and the whole entire 7 people fighting from Evolution on March 18th. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Perfect. All right, before we bring in our next guest, I know we have Brody McDougal talking about people who are either fighters or not. I think Brody fits that mold of being a fighter. Shout out to my mom. So the other reason why I was getting texts, my mom was texting me going, hey, did you intend on telling me it was a day-night doubleheader? Because my mom, for those who don't know, she's the one that runs the front door. Her and like my aunts and a bunch of family friends, all the ladies at the front door. So if you give them shit, that's my mom. I actually had a fighter once give my mom shit. They didn't believe her that she was my mom. And she's like, I'll go get my son right now.
I forget who it was, but
I remember who it was.